Here's how to bring value to your team through pull requests. When you think about pull requests, you think about merging code. But pull requests are more than that. They're a collaboration tool, and as such, you should take your teammates into consideration when opening a pull request. Here are the main things you should be looking at. Number one, you should provide as much context as possible, aka you should put yourself in your reviewer's shoes. When you open a PR, you have all of the context, it's all in your head, but the reviewer knows nothing about it yet. It's your job as the author of the pull request to provide as much information as you can so that the reviewer has all of the context that you've acquired. So let's look at this example. Here we have a PR with a clear title, Implement Rate Limiting for Public API Endpoints. It describes perfectly what this PR is introducing in this pull request. Then we have a pull request description that have multiple parts. First, we start by the problem, what is this code actually solving? Here it's important that you link any issues that are related to the pull request, but also provide information so that the person reviewing can have a quick context on why this change is needed. Then we have the solution. The solution is going to explain the PR. Yes, the person can look at the code, but it's a lot easier to understand with human words. So when you talk about the solution with your own words, it makes it easier for the person reviewing to also understand. Then you can either provide a demo or a screenshot where you are showing and telling what you've changed. If you do a major change, a loom is extremely powerful. From your perspective, when you record this loom, it forces you to think about your solution. Many times when I was recording the loom, I would find an edge case that I hadn't thought about just because I was going over my solution. But from the perspective of the reviewer, it's gonna give them a boost of context in a short amount of time. So I highly recommend the video walkthrough when you have complex changes. Lastly, in some cases, it's good to also talk about what you've tested so that the person coming in can think about other edge cases that you haven't thought about. This is just one example. Different engineering teams will have different templates even of what they expect in a pull request description. So it's up to you and your team to decide what you want to share. The important thing here is that you're thinking about your reviewer and you're providing the context that they need. It's also worth noting that this PR description is self-documentation. 2 years from now, when you or someone else in your team goes back, they would be able to quickly understand why certain decisions were made or why a code was introduced. Also very important is to keep your PR short. This one is especially hard in a fast-paced environment. But let's be honest, how do you feel when you get a gigantic PR to review? That's how your teammates feel. Your teammates will find it a lot easier to review if they don't have to be scrolling through endless lines of codes and changes. You'll make it easier for them to find bugs, and it will also make it less likely for you to introduce bugs because you're changing less things at the same time. So keeping your PR short makes everyone's life easier. But how do you know if a PR is short enough? The main thing that we usually look at is the number of files changed and the diff length. In this case, this is way too many changes, and it's obviously going to be hard to review 119 files. So there's no set number. Usually, if you're talking about between 100 and 400 diff changes, that's a reasonable amount of changes. How I think about it is, the longer it took me to code it, the longer it will take for someone to review it. So I prefer to open short PRs more often than keep all of my work hoarded and just release it at the end, right? If indeed there are many changes, then I suggest that you use feature branching, but that's a topic for another video. The last point is self-review. You should be your first reviewer. Before you assign anyone to review a PR, make sure that you take off your hat of coder and put on the hat of reviewer. You should be looking at things as simple as, oh, I forgot this console log here, or there is this lint error here. So make sure that if you have a CI, that all of the checks have passed, and make sure that you actually look through your code as if you are reviewing it for the first time. Then you can also add comments. If you think something is going to be hard to understand, you can add a comment to the reviewer explaining your thought process there. If you've solved the problem in a way that is slightly unconventional, you might also want to add a comment explaining why you did things that way. And that's it. These are the main things you should be thinking about when you open a pull request if you want to bring value to your team. But if you want to go the extra mile, here are some other things that you can do. You can make meaningful commits that self-document the code. So instead of generic messages like fix, fixes, or whip, you can do a meaningful commit that explains what is happening. You explain the change, you explain how you're doing the change, and you might even want to link the issue that is being solved. It's a sort of like mini version of the PR description you should be writing, but in a commit level. Something else you can do, and this is only if you work with GitHub, would be to enable GitHub notifications. GitHub has a setting that is somewhat hidden and very badly named. If you go to your settings and you scroll down to scheduled reminders, here you can configure the notification you're gonna get. You get real-time alerts when your review is requested, when you're assigned, all of that. And you're gonna get this directly in your Slack inbox. So here's an example. This is just a tip for how you can keep on top of the pull request comments that you're getting, so you can quickly reply to your reviewer. Lastly, these actually should go without saying, but you shouldn't open Draft PRs unless there's a reason for it. Many times we open Draft PRs because we want to show we've made progress, but really just crowds the pull requests that need to be reviewed. If I open the list of pull requests here and I see that these 3 pull requests are draft, I don't know what that means. Should I look at it? Should I ignore it? Just adds extra load without any value. So if you want to show progress, maybe send a Slack message and not open a Draft PR. And that's it. I hope this was useful. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.